Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Man, this feels weird. I haven't recorded in like 9 days, but I'm super excited for this conversation. I'm here with Kirk Reed. He's the co-founder of We The Beat. Also, he is the talent buyer for it. I don't know if you guys have known. A lot of people who listen to the show is in the younger category, and so We The Beat is popular with a lot of us. We The Beat is a Santa Barbara and Las Vegas-based collective pushing the boundaries of music discovery and concert production. If there's anything we like in Vegas, it's to go out and party and listen to some music and form a culture. Kirk is doing that with his company. So thanks for coming on, man.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude.
That was a solid intro.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Knocked it out of the park. Let's go. We're ready for this. Yeah, We The Beat, man. You guys kind of snuck up out of nowhere a few years ago, kind of before the pandemic happened. I know you guys were founded in 2013, if I have that correct. But it was like all of a sudden We The Beat just like existed and had like all these events going on. I was like, well, who are these people?
Yeah, we started in Santa Barbara. We were doing concerts there for a couple of years, so we knew what we were doing before we came to Vegas. I grew up in Vegas, have a bunch of connects, bunch of family, good network here. So when we came, we knew what we were doing, and we had a couple doors open for us. So we were ready to go for sure.
We The Beat, you guys have put on the one event I went to, was at Satara Hookah Lounge or something like years ago. It was electronic based, but are all of the events you put on surrounded by electronic music?
Not really. We do a bunch of stuff, honestly. Electronic for sure, but also rock. We were getting into rap. Anything we think is cool, honestly. The modern listener of music listens to everything, and it starts with me and my friends. We listen to electronic, but we listen to indie rock, we listen to rap. So anything we think is cool, anything that we think Vegas wants to hear, wants to see, we book it. So we don't like to really put ourselves in a box with any genre. We love like all the big music festivals that are super diverse. So I can't go to a full day of a music festival and listen to just rock or just rap or just electronic. I need a little of everything. So that's kind of our approach with booking music throughout the year.
And I think our generation's taste for music has grown. We kind of grew up in this electronic dominated culture, right? EDC started becoming popular out here in Vegas and moved out here 2011, 2012, 2013 began to take over. And it's like all there ever was just like electronic music concerts and festivals for a long time outside of Coachella, really. But now you see different examples of different tastes of music throughout all of these different festivals. It's really cool to see that we're not just stuck in this electronic music based life.
Yeah, I'd say that's still dominant, especially in Las Vegas. Like you said, between EDC, the Strip, all those nightclubs, electronic music still dominates Vegas. And even all the independent promoters do really well with it. All the Fremont clubs do really well with electronic music. We still want to dance more than anything. So you're right, it does start there, but we try to do all sorts of stuff outside of that. Yeah,
you're trying to peer into the future. I used to work at Omnia nightclub. Before I just quit. I was there for 6 years. Obviously, we had Calvin Harris and all them. I was bussing there.
You know all about the club life.
Oh, I was there, living in it, especially when I was 21, going out and partying, with all of the UNLV students. But the consumers on the Strip are different from the consumers that live here or the ones that kind of migrate around downtown area. Mm-hmm. The people who visit Vegas, they want to hear those radio DJs. They want to hear the songs that everyone's familiar with, right? All the Calvin Harris songs, Sweet Nothing, whatever, things that are vocalized in words. And in the clubs, a lot of these DJs perform the same sets over and over and over because it's more about, obviously it's about the experience, and the nightclubs are kind of catered that way. But it's more of a profession, whereas like you guys in some of these smaller ones, you kind of have to look past that trend to see where culture is forming around.
Yeah, tourists, they pay good money to have a lot of fun here, and they want their expectations met. They want to know the music. They want to sing along with the people next to them from Arkansas or wherever. So yeah, those clubs do feed into the mainstream, but probably for the better. I'm sure they're really successful with it. I'm sure that's what the tourists want. So, but for us, yeah, we live in Las Vegas. We go out downtown. We're trying to build a community here. There's a lot more people that live here that want something new, something different, and want to explore, want to find something new with their friends, right? Go check out a new artist, go check out a new band. So we definitely talk to locals more. We're definitely trying to promote to like the local community more that are interested in checking out something new.
So would you say that most of the ticket buyers for We The Beat are locals from Santa Barbara and from Las Vegas?
For sure. Yeah. I don't have the number offhand, but I'd say 80% are local. We still get some tourists in, especially from downtown, people staying on Fremont and stuff. We lure them. Most of our concerts are downtown. Before COVID, we were doing a bunch of stuff at the Bunkhouse. So that's, a rock throw from all the action on Fremont. So we get a lot of that. But mostly locals come to our stuff.
When is your first event in Vegas happening?
I don't know if I can announce. When does this release?
This will be probably 2-3 weeks from this recording day.
Okay.
Which is the 20th, I think today's 25th.
Okay. We're going to be working a lot more with Ferguson's, the motel that was transformed into a really cool outdoor kind of event space with some really
they've been crushing it.
Yeah, it's really cool over there. They're doing a lot of different events with comedy. And
I was just there for Don't Tell.
How was it?
Don't Tell Comedy.
Was it cool?
Killed it. Crushed it. Yeah, I have a speaking gig tomorrow there too.
Sick. Yeah. So we're trying to do concerts over there. So right now I think it's June 26th. We're going to be doing a monthly outdoor concert there this summer. So that's not announced yet, but it's going to be happening. We're excited about it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah. The thing with downtown Vegas is a lot of these venues are very eccentric. They all have their different traits and personality feel around it. Yeah, it's not like the club where, I mean, obviously they're all glamorized between Excess and Omnia and Huxon, but they all relatively do the same thing and they all have the same purpose. It's more of a plug and play DJ, where places like Ferguson, you have to acknowledge not only the attendees are always different, but also like the culture that surrounds it.
Yeah, downtown's super weird. Super weird. But we love that. It's different and it's cool and it's us. So yeah, we love to be a part of that community. Hopefully we add some more weirdness to it, through music. So yeah, we love all the cool things that are happening downtown. It's awesome to see it bounce back, after COVID. So yeah, we're ready for events of all types. Like, it's gonna be fun.
Vegas is coming back. I was out the last few weeks and man, I have to say, felt like old Vegas again.
We were just talking, we were at Dead Mouse the other night at Downtown Events Center. That was nuts. That was wild. I loved it. It
felt so good. It almost made me forget that the last year and almost a half, we were just like locked down and we're uncertain about what was going to happen in the future, where events are ever going to happen. Some people were saying live events wouldn't happen for 3 years.
Right.
What was going through your guys' mind at We The Beat once everything shut down? Were you guys expecting it to last this long, or how did you go about the preparation?
Man, looking back when COVID hit, we thought it would last a month. Then we thought it'd last 3, then 6. And then there was a moment where you're like, this is never coming back. We're going to be with COVID forever, masks forever, limited capacity forever. This is the way of life. Like you get deep down into the hole as news gets worse. But the vaccine was a pretty big turning point. Top of this year, things started to open slowly, restaurants and stuff. I'll be honest, like around March, we thought this fall would be the time when concerts came back. I was pretty surprised when they said June 1, 100%, even California now, which has been, the biggest stickler against COVID, or they've been the most careful. They even said they're going 100% in June. So that kind of came up quick. And that's why we're working to be at the forefront. We want to be ready. We want, to be those guys providing entertainment when we can.
Yeah, exactly. And as somebody who is the talent buyer for the company, when you've been approaching some of the prospects for these shows, what is their feeling toward it? Are they just hyped and ready, or are they also careful and very selective?
I have to deal with the venue and the city and the people. The artist and the agent doesn't. So they're all about it. They want to go 100 miles per hour. Kirk, book us now, book us whenever you can. They've been out of work for a year. So artists are jumping at the bit to play as long as it's safe. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun at first during quarantine when Insomniac and some of these other DJs were doing like the virtual festivals and the shows through Twitch. But
were you watching those?
Yeah, I was watching some of them. It was cool in the beginning. I was like, this is a cool experience, but it's not the same because no matter how society advances and becomes more adaptive to, you know, online culture and living through our screens, it's not the same as sharing the energy with somebody next to you.
You know, I tried to watch those streams, and I did. I was on Twitch watching DJs do their thing, but it just couldn't really keep my attention. Didn't really keep my interest. You know, We The Beat thought about doing live streams, and we definitely looked at it, but we decided not to. Just kind of hold our own until live events came back because we just didn't really have our heart in it. Honestly,
it's not the same. I do think a trend that's going to happen in the future. You're going to see DJs live stream to a festival or to a crowd at a festival.
Sure.
And they could probably take a massive discount because they're just streaming from their apartments, and it'll be good for the festival as well.
Well, a big question is a lot of these venues are equipping their stages and sound with the capability to stream. So the big question is, let's say there's deadmau5 in Las Vegas. Should they be streaming that to the world? And would someone in Iowa pay whatever $10 to watch deadmau5 live in Las Vegas? You know, is there a market for not just the physical concert, but the streaming tickets on top of that? It'll be interesting to see who ventures into that. Some of the bigger artists, I think, could demand that. Like, if Justin Bieber doesn't want to tour, he doesn't want to do 50 dates, he can maybe just do a couple in LA and stream it to the world and hopefully make the money that way, right?
Yeah, I think the downside to that would be the majority of these artists who go on tour, you're generally playing the similar set at every show.
Pretty much.
So if you live stream it, then people are only going to purchase a handful of times because it's the same thing. Totally.
You kind of water down your product, so to speak. You know, you sell that one product to the world, you can't sell it again, I guess. That is like the dialogue that's happening between artists, agents, and promoters like me. It's like, if you're streaming your concert, are they still going to come to mine? Right?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a premium to see something live. I mean, most of us like bass in our face. We like that
the feeling.
That feeling.
Right.
But if you can't go out and listening to that set, is cool. I mean, for a long time, the trend of Couchella was a thing where you could just watch Coachella. I used to sit around and watch that. It was a good time.
But I wouldn't pay for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it was cool. It was super cool, and I think it was great for the Coachella brand to like show the world what Coachella is if you've never been. I just don't know if there's a market. I don't know if I'd pay for that.
Would you pay for a product that was a virtual reality version of that?
Maybe, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what VR could evolve into.
There's a lot of good products. It's something that I've looked into, which is a topic for another day. But it's something. It's a conversation I've explored because
it was more immersive. If I could feel like I was at the concert, maybe with a friend that I haven't seen in, like, he lives in New York and I live in Las Vegas, and we could
you could go together.
Yeah, we're like hanging out, having a beer together at this like virtual. I would you check it out,
and you could share the virtual dance floor with, you know, maybe somebody famous who's right next to you, and then you can actually have a conversation as well.
I would definitely put the headset on and take a spin in that.
Have you seen, since you've been a part of this now for 8 years, have you seen any major trends in terms of the growth of, let's say, the festival scene or the concert scene?
Well, before COVID, it was at an all-time high. Honestly, there was 100 festivals being announced weekly, it felt like, and a lot of concerts around the country were doing really well before COVID. It's going to be exciting to see the demand for concerts now, post-COVID. It's been crazy already. We announced a concert in Santa Barbara with Elderbrook, who's a really cool...
I like Elderbrook.
Yeah, he's super cool. We've had him before in Santa Barbara, and he sold out, you know, eventually by the time doors opened. But this time we had him. We just announced it like a couple weeks ago. It's not till October, and it already sold out, which is crazy. You know, like, the demand is really there. So as far as trends, I think the promoters, the festivals that survived, that made it, that survived through COVID, they're going to do really well for the next year at least.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a consolidation of power between the promotion teams and the festival organizers as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of independent promoters and venues just couldn't make it, you know? So
yeah, I had one of my buddies on here who runs AV gear, and his main product or his main source of revenue throughout the pandemic was actually AV liquidations from festival companies who
buying
had
up their gear that they
who had to sell everything because they weren't going to make it, and then other organizers were coming in and buying everything on the low because they know they can come expand.
Yeah,
it's a good and bad thing. It's through COVID, you saw a lot of these mom and pop restaurants close down, and everyone's like, "Fuck, the franchises are going to come in. I'm gonna have a Subway on every other corner again."
That sucks.
It's the same thing with festivals and concerts
for sure. But yeah, the festivals that are gonna go for it are gonna do well. Like Life is Beautiful in Vegas is already sold out, you know, immediately. So that's awesome to see them do well. You know, we need that for the city. That's like a really diverse music festival experience that provides something totally different than something like EDC. It's like we're huge fans of Life is Beautiful and what they do for Vegas. So it's cool to see them survive and do really well.
I'm curious. Let's talk a little bit about the history of We the Beat. You've been going on this for 8 years now.
Yeah.
What interests you, or what sparked that interest to go into what could have been considered a congested industry already and to try to make your mark on it?
I was at UCSB. That's where I went to school, college, and I knew I wanted a career in the music industry. I got an internship at RCA Records, which was super cool. Learned a lot. But I learned that none of my friends were buying music anymore. We were going to concerts. So instead of buying a $20 CD, we weren't doing that. We were illegally downloading everything. This was before Spotify and streaming became what it is today. So I was illegally downloading all my music. All my friends were. And so I was looking at the label like, what are you guys even doing here? But we would go to a concert for $30, buy a T-shirt for $15, and all of a sudden, instead of buying a $20 CD, I was spending $50 at the concert. So like there was still like a really strong economy there. So I went back to UCSB and started working for, I begged for a job at Soho Music Club, which is the coolest, smaller music venue in Santa Barbara, in downtown there. I was the busboy. Well, I started as the flyer boy. I'm still in the owner's phone as Flyer Boy Kirk. Yeah, I did that I put up flyers for like 6 months all over town, all over college. I was just begging for anything to do. And then finally I became a busboy for like a year. And then as a busboy, I was watching concert production. I was watching concert promotion. I got to kind of learn how to how to produce a concert. And then also the role of an independent promoter. There was a promoter, shout out Jeffrey Schumann, Club Mercy. Jeffrey Schumann has gone on to do like awesome things, and he's an amazing talent buyer who produces big time music festivals now for AG and Live Nation. But anyway, he got his start there as a promoter, and I just realized there's a role kind of as a middleman. You know, the venue might not know what music to book, the venue might not know how to promote to the right people, but if I do, I can kind of sell myself. I can kind of find a role for myself. So I worked my way up as a bartender, and then I graduated, and I asked the owner if I could talent buy. I was like, I think I know what I'm doing. I was also writing for a blog. Music wanted to be my life. And I said, can I help you talent buy? And they said, have you ever done that? And I said, no, but I think I can. But they didn't give me a shot. Instead, I went to the parking lot in my car, called my best friend, Blake Nania, and I said, I'm going to start a concert company. And he's like, yep, that's what we're doing. And so me and him started We the Beat, and we took like an empty date, a date that they needed to fill at Soho Music Club. It was like a Thursday night that they couldn't close. Like they needed to figure it out. So they're like, figure it out, Kirk. Like, I guess if you want to be the man. And so we did. We booked Gold Room, and it went awesome. Sold out. We went door to door to all the frats and sororities at UCSB, made sure we sold all the tickets. And then just took that success to other artists, other agents, and we were kind of off and running.
Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
It's almost similar stories to a similar upbringing to Pasquale Rotella, who started EDC, how he always talks about how he was just handing out flyers. Yeah, he's an iconic figure.
Yeah, you got to start, at the bottom. You gotta take any job you can get just to get your foot in the door. But that's how you learn every role. You know, the boss of any company, you need to know what every single person's doing and how to do it well, and how to kind of teach someone how to do it well. So I can honestly say I've done everything you can at a concert venue. I've put up the flyers, I've cleaned the toilets, I've booked the band. Throughout
the tough trial in the beginning of figuring out how you were going to operate this business, did you have faith that this was going to work out? Was there any sort of hesitation that maybe this is just leading to a dead end?
There's been times for sure where you question yourself. For the first couple of years, though, I was just kind of dumb and young. Like, no, this is going to work. Like, I know what I'm doing. We were selling out shows. So for the first couple of years, no. But then, you know, you hit bumps in the road. Some shows don't do as well. When we came to Vegas, we weren't selling out like every show, and you think you should be. And then COVID hit. You know, that was shit. Like, do we stop this, or how do we survive? So yeah, there's been times where you doubt yourself, but you know, that's life. That's any project that you commit to. You know, something's going to go wrong.
There's always going to be bumps in the road. Yeah. It's about surviving, especially in the early days of a business or a project's lifespan.
Yeah.
It's not about succeeding as much as just having consistency, because that's what an audience or a community looks for. Are you going to put a podcast out once a week or twice a week? Are you going to have a show every few weeks that we could go to? Are you going to bail on me? Because how society's progressing is now it's about your community that surrounds you, and you could succeed with literally like a few hundred to a few thousand people that surround you and believes in you. And that's kind of what promotions is, right? You see that with Revelation out here too, who's built like a big ass community, and they kill it as well. And Collective Zoo was doing that for a while too.
I don't know if I was lucky or smart or whatever, but I also loved what I was doing. You know, even if I questioned myself, I didn't question whether I loved it. Like, I really did enjoy booking music, producing the show, seeing the crowds, you know, interacting with, you know, the artists and their teams, you know, building my own brand, you know, building my own company. That was all like really fun. So even if it wasn't going as well as I wanted it, I was like, I love this. We're going to keep going till the wheels fall off.
So what's it take to throw a successful show? Is it the entertainer booking a right artist? Is it the audience or the ticket buyers? What would you say is the most important aspect?
I think it does start with the entertainment, the talent. You know, they have to be good, right? They also have to have some fans. You know, the market that you book them in. Do people want to see that artist? And even if not, like, there's a lot of times where we are in a position of taste making where people might not know the artist, but we've kind of built some trust with our community, so they know if they come to a We the Beach show, it's going to be good. So kind of to your earlier point, consistency, like every show has to be good. You can't book bullshit. Can I curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't book bullshit, right? People see through that. People might see it's a money grab, or like people might not come back next time if you book, you know, stuff that's not good. So that's obviously subjective. I'm not saying I know what's good, but it starts with, do we like this? Like, that's the decision making at We the Beat. Does everyone like this? Yes. This is awesome. This is cool stuff that we think A, is going to be a good show, but also B, has the potential to be bigger one day. That's a huge decision maker for us. Like, do we think this artist can grow and we'll be able to grow with them? So I think it does start with the artist, you know, whether we like them and whether Vegas wants to see them or not. And then we do pride ourselves on us being like super professional, providing a good setting for the artist, providing a good setting for the fan, right? We want everyone to be super comfortable. That translates into the show, right? If the artist doesn't, if you don't take care of them, or it's a shitty venue, or there's 100 things why an artist can be kind of uncomfortable, you can see that in the show. For sure. Like, they just kind of want to get over with it, especially if they're on like a long tour. This is like night 25 and it's a Tuesday night and you're not treating them right. Yeah, they're going to give a shitty show. And that goes with fans too. Like, if you don't treat them right at the door, if you have shitty security, you know, if you're not checking them in with a smile, or if you're not like, you know, giving them affordable tickets, then they're not having that much fun.
How would you describe the culture that you've built within the fans of We the Beat? And the example that I'm going to use is when I worked at Omnia, our manager, they used to say this cliche term. They'd be like, you know, Omnia, this world famous nightclub, is going to bring the guests in, but what keeps them coming back is you guys, the staff, the wait staff.
That's big, for sure.
And so the Strip, a little bit different dynamic because you have new people coming in every day. And so you have to put on good face so that they come back.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're catering to locals, you have consistently the same people coming back. So it's a little bit different of a dynamic. So how would you describe the culture that you've built?
I mean, it's a lot of that though. Your staff has to be on point. The vibe, you know, in general has to be really fun, relaxing, cool. And even if you're working with a venue, like they might have their own staff. So sometimes it's tough when they have their own agenda, but again, that's kind of on us to work with the venue to create like an overall good energy that brings people back. Or you work with the venue to offer drink deals, or, you know, we always want to create an affordable ticket price. Like that's always big for us that we talk to agents about. A lot of times the agent wants a higher ticket price because that's more money for their artist, but we try to explain to them like, hey, if you take this down a little bit, will sell more tickets, right? It's easy. It's an easier sell. But for us, that is how we keep people coming back, you know, provide a fun, affordable experience, especially when Vegas can be expensive. So
yeah, especially.
Yeah.
Everything just increases in price on the Strip. Bottles become $50, $100 more every year. The cover charge to come and see Calvin's like $100, and then next year it's like $200.
I'm sure you saw crazy things at Omnia.
Crazy, dude. I think before COVID, I think the drink price for vodka Red Bull was like $26. I was like, oh my God.
And they don't even give you like the full Red Bull. Like, can I get that?
Right. Yeah, no, I love the nightclubs. You know, it was one of the best launch pads I could ever have to make money and go do things that I want to do. But it's just so archaic how expensive everything is in there. And just the surrounding Strip is the same way as well. Now they add convenience surcharges like at the gift shops and, you know, paying for parking and everything. And that's why I see a migration from the Strip to downtown and the Arts District is it's becoming a little bit corporatized. And I saw that with some of the management at the nightclub that I worked at as well. Yeah. And, you know, that's nothing to their fault. It's just if you're operating a business as a bottom line for the numbers, then the customer base will see it. Sure. And that's something that you acknowledge that they would see.
For sure. I mean, again, maybe not the tourist who's just like ringing up his credit card, but we see that locally for sure. People are comparing drink prices. People are comparing cover charges. You know, why would I go to your concert if I can just go down the street and get in for a little cheaper? Like, there's always that little competition that you have to kind of make sure you're in line with. Omnia, wasn't that Hakkasan?
It was Hakkasan Group. Yeah, it just got bought out by Tao Group. Yeah,
that's a big old deal.
It's a Tao. Yeah, so Madison Square Garden's the one who owns Tao Group.
And they're building that sphere.
They're building the sphere. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of integrations. For sure. I've heard Tao Group's a little bit more of like a family culture but Hakkasan Group is a little bit more bottom lines.
But yeah, you want to talk consolidation.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, it's good and it's a bad thing. You know, it's the big players get bigger. They have more power, which could therefore just increase the price because it's like
they control it.
Yeah, they control it. You know, which is a bad thing. So COVID has been good and bad for a lot of those big and small players in all these different industries.
It'll be interesting
to see how it goes. And I said this in episode 3 or 4 of the podcast. I was interviewing Naboo, and we were talking about the nightclub industry. And I was like, what's up, guys? We're going to take a quick 60-second break to give a shout out to the first ever sponsor of the Guest List podcast. And you guessed it, it's none other than Manscaped. Manscaped is the most popular men's grooming product in the world. It is something that I live by. I make sure that I use it before I go out and hit downtown Vegas, Fremont Street, go down to the Strip. It's something that gives me more confidence to go out and have a good night. And as we know, Father's Day is right upon us. And what a better gift than to get your father his very own Manscaped. And if you use the code TheGuestList at manscaped.com, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. Once again, that's 20% off and free shipping. And if you don't feel comfortable getting your father one of the most popular men's grooming products, they do offer a few other select products as well. They have a nose trimmer, they have ball wipes, they have a crop mop, they have cologne. You guys could go over to that website. They have some underwear, which I'm currently wearing right now, or you could get a cool shirt like this that I'm wearing as well. They have the whole package. So once again, make sure that you guys go to manscaped.com, use the code the guest list. You guys are listening to the guest list. Very simple. Use the promo code the guest list to receive 20% off and free shipping to anywhere in the United States. Thank you guys for listening, and let's get back to the show. What's going to happen in the future is a lot of these DJ contracts are going to have to come down massively at a discount, or they're just going to start operating within a new model and bring in different talent from different areas.
Right.
And see, like Zook is kind of has been pushing the tech in-house kind of DJs.
They announced a lot of cool artists.
Which is cool. Will it translate well within the city? I don't know. I see tech in-house as being like a big trend. I think it's because it tends to be an older crowd. I think it's as you get older, you get mature. You get tired of jumping up and down, or maybe your body can't handle it anymore.
I can only do so many 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Like, and you want to be social too, because it's like you get to talk, dance and vibe out, but you also want to be social as well.
Yeah, you want to connect with people. You want to talk, network, talk to girls. You don't need to be jumping, like you said, up and down all the time. But how about chaos? You know, that is probably the biggest crazy. I don't want to call it a failure, because there's a lot of good people that were, working on that, but I'm sure that sent ripples through, the nightclub community and industry. And it'll be interesting, the lessons that they learned from that whole fiasco.
Yeah, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of comparisons of Zook going to do the same thing Chaos did. I think Palms is just in a bad spot, so that wouldn't be play out. And from what I've seen, Zook and Resorts World has done a good job at bringing over hosts and managers and things like that from different nightclub venues. They're kind of diversifying that portfolio, which is good. And
their lineup's pretty diverse, like you said. They're not just the big names, which they have, but they have some other cooler tech stuff.
Yeah, you realize it's similar to like what We The Beat does, right? You realize that there's big players and they have a stranglehold over, the mainstream music where all the dollars are going to be made. But in order to carve your niche out, you have to start very small, very selective, and then you can build up and outwards afterwards. It's the same with this podcast. I started with Vegas entrepreneurs. Eventually it'll just be entrepreneurs or whatever. We The Beat start with Santa Barbara, now Santa Barbara and Vegas. Then eventually it'll be somewhere else, or a bigger brand, or a festival that's the next extension, or anything like that.
For sure. No, you got to keep growing. Even for us during COVID, we were looking for different revenue streams, and we had this big email list, of past ticket buyers. And so we kind of converted that email list into a weekly newsletter that we give updates on streaming charts, music industry news. We have a weekly playlist every Friday. That's just all new music. Anyway, we were talking to our fan base every week, and that grew. We gave them a reason to keep talking, to keep cultivating at least a digital scene, right? And we kind of squeezed a little revenue out of our newsletter, and that was really good for us. And we think we're going to keep doing that moving forward, even with concerts. All of a sudden, that's just a new revenue stream for us that we didn't quite plan until COVID hit. But you always got to keep growing, think of new ways to make money.
Keep growing and being able to pivot once something like that, like an obstacle of COVID comes in. A lot of these restaurants started doing sidewalk delivery, for alcohol.
Which is cool.
There's other ways to go about things, but it's important to not let that flame go out.
No doubt.
Which is the energy of your fan base. And before we record this, I was on your website and I saw you personally writing some articles. Like by Kirk Reed. There was one I saw about, I forget what the artist was that became a Dogecoin millionaire.
Oh yeah, Nas, the legendary rapper. He's been huge in the crypto space, just as an investor, not just with altcoins and stuff like that, but he was one of the original investors in Coinbase, one of the original investors in a lot of crypto-based companies, and has been tremendously successful. And so those are the type of articles that we do write for our weekly newsletter, not just what's happening in music, but kind of cooler, not so known stories happening within like the music industry and beyond.
It is an interesting twist, to say the least, because most blogs are generally like doing a mock-up of whatever event they're happening and kind of reporting, right. But
we want to give you also news. We want to keep you up to date on what's happening in music, period. And so, I write a lot of that newsletter. So does my partner, Blake. Between me and him, we kind of write all of it. But we have some other people writing artist reviews, or like album reviews, sorry. And it's been a good way to reach out to artists too. Like if we review your album, we send it to you, and now we're friends, and now we want to book you. It's a good way to start that relationship. It's been cool.
Have you guys ever thought about doing like a podcast or a YouTube channel or something?
Of course,
like
yeah. This is my first podcast. I walk in, I'm like taking notes on your gear. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is all super cool. We've always talked about that channel.
It's another way for the fans to directly communicate with you without actually directly taking up your time, because at a certain point your inbox just becomes flooded and you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to respond to everyone and get away with everything. But if you have a podcast, then they can be you can be in their ear for an hour and they feel close to you.
Yeah. I just want to do something unique, something different. There's so many podcasts now that we want to do something that we know, that we want to do all the time. Because as you know, you've done, how many podcasts have you done? 100?
Well, you'll be like 127.
That's crazy. That's awesome, man. Like your consistency is so key. We don't want to do a couple and be bored of it or unhappy with it.
Should do live podcasts at a show.
Yeah, we've been thinking about ways to incorporate a podcast with our show, or not literally, but we do have access to these artists for the day. So maybe we can sneak them, get on the podcast for a little bit, get some questions in. So
that was always an idea that I wanted to do. And I was going to reach out to some of the local people where it's like, I could personally come up and post up like a live podcast, and I can, the owner, the artist, but you can also get the fans included in that. And that's all about it's all about the experience. A message I portray on here a lot is Vegas was built as the entertainment capital of the world, but it's slowly migrating to become the experience capital of the world.
For sure.
And everyone is all these companies are trying to find ingenious ways to go about that experience that leaves that imprint on them.
Yeah. And creating a unique experience that has a lot to it is how to, like you said, leave a mark, how to separate yourself from other people. Don't just give them a concert, but what else are we doing here? So someone like Area 15 that just opened is trying to provide some of that, where there's kind of like art installations, there's museums, it's a full 360 experience, not just show up to the concert and leave.
Yeah, the younger generations are not about materialism at all. I mean, there's some people that are materialistic and flex it on Instagram to get the likes or whatever it is. Sure. But the majority of people that I communicate with are not about materialism at all. It's like, I'll either save my wealth and build a company, or I'll go spend $3,000 on like a Euro trip or at a festival. Like that's like no big deal for them. They'll work literally for months at a time to go have those memories. And because then you can reflect on that on your deathbed.
Yeah. Travel, those experiences. That's definitely what people are spending their money on.
What do you like to do in your free time when you're not working on We The Beat?
I try to get some basketball in. I'm a huge sports head. So me and my buddies try to play basketball, when we find some time. So that's a big thing. I'm always watching sports. That's like my getaway from music and business, which is, they're one and the same now. Like music was my love, and then I made it my business. So that's kind of one and the same. So sports is a good outlet that business can't touch that for me.
I bet it doesn't feel like you're at work though when you're working on We The Beat stuff. Does it?
Yeah, it does. No.
Does it?
No, I love it for sure. But,
does it become overbearing at times?
There's just pressure to deliver all the time from agents, from venues. You're always working with a team. Sometimes there's a lot of money on the line. So, yeah, it's still a job. And when it's your own company, when your own brand, your reputation's on the line. So,
sports is the outlet.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I play a lot of sports, or at least watch a lot, play a little bit. What else do I do? I'm always out though. Well, especially now, recently now that we can go out, I love to be in the community. I love to be talking to people, even if it's not, at a concert or whatnot. I like to meet up with people for coffee, for lunch, for beers, whatever. That's how you at least for me, that's how I build my community in Vegas. So I'm always doing that, always trying to reconnect with people, especially recently.
It's very important. There's a famous podcaster on here. His name's Travis Chappell, and I asked him how he built his community. He has like a top 25 business podcast in the world.
Really?
And he said a simple message, but it kind of stuck with me. He said, one at a time.
Yeah.
Literally one at a time. That's how you do it. You have to build very intimate relationships, and those relationships you build, they have faith in you, and then they go to their friends and they're like, hey, I met this cool guy, Kirk. He has this crazy business called We the Bee. I think we should go to his show. And then they bring their friends, and then they're like, oh my God. And then you meet your friend there at the event, and then they introduce you to their friends. And
yeah, a mutual friend introduced us.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's just how this works.
It's crazy, especially out here in Vegas where everyone is separated by a handful of degrees.
Right. It's a big city, but it's at the end of the day, it's pretty small once you start living and connecting here.
Yeah.
It's cool, which I like, honestly.
Is your guys' headquarters out here?
My room is, yeah. we don't really have a headquarters right now, but not many people do anymore. Office, bro. It's expensive.
That's true. Yeah, the downsizing, the remote work.
Yeah.
Remote work is going to take over. Honestly, this is, I guess, considered remote work, but we're recording where I live as well. The productivity of the employees, I've heard, is just like increased drastically as well. It's like, why was this never a thing to begin with? It's crazy how like the world viewed remote work as like something that would never happen, like that it would just be, it would lead to like a drastic decrease in productivity, and it's been the complete opposite. Yeah.
I wake up, I start working. I'm working on weekends. You know, I think I do work just as much or even more than I did in office. Sometimes in an office, you're spaced out, or you don't want to be there, or I don't know, you're just not comfortable. But yeah, so no, We the Bee doesn't have an office in Vegas. I mean, maybe one day.
How many employees do you guys have? Need it.
Well, we have 4 core members.
And then a lot of independent contractors.
Yeah, we have a huge street team of friends, family, but yeah, we call them ambassadors. We have a great ambassador program that's at least 20 deep, maybe closer to like 40 now. So depending on how many people are super active, but yeah, we have an awesome community of just like street teamers, ambassadors, people that help We the Bee, you know, spread the word. They help us make decisions on what artists to book. So our team in general is pretty deep. It's pretty cool.
That is good to see. Do you plan on expanding to other cities?
Yeah, I think that should always be in the back of our head of what's next. I'm always looking at like Reno, Sacramento. We always like to go after markets that aren't LA, San Francisco, the A markets. You know, Santa Barbara was really good to us because we were in the middle of LA and SF. Vegas has been good to us because as we were saying before, like all the mainstream artists were getting booked, but all the artists that we actually listened to weren't getting booked. We filled that gap here in Vegas. So we just got to find another market where we can bring value. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. We don't want to like show up in Los Angeles and think we run that place when you don't. So
saturated. Yeah. When I first came across the profile and I saw Santa Barbara, I was like, it's an interesting market to just dive into, right?
Yeah, that's
it's not something that you think of, right?
Sure.
Right. Oh, you went to UCSB?
Yeah. And then, but as far as scheduling goes, it works really well with touring. You know, they play San Francisco, they play Santa Barbara, which is right in between San Francisco and LA. So actually for touring, it actually worked really well. Vegas is sometimes hard to get to, but
yeah, so it's like a circuit. You could get them almost as a circuit if you have a bunch of events in similar geographic locations.
Santa Barbara worked out really well for us. Still does. Like we do a bunch of stuff in Vegas, but you're about to see us. We're going to announce like 10 shows in Santa Barbara in the next like month.
Nice. What type of music?
Again, all over the place. Like we have Elderbrook. We're about to announce another date with him because his first date sold out so fast. We have some good rock music coming. Those are our 2 staples, electronic and rock music. We want to get into rap, but that's just so saturated now. It's really tough to break into just because we're kind of the new guys on the block as far as rap goes. Is
rock on the comeback? I used to be a big rock kid growing up, long hair, always listen to alternative rock and classic rock, but I haven't heard of any popular rock bands recently.
Right. Well, like Tame Impala is one of the biggest rock bands in the world right now. You know, they're a major festival headliner. But yeah, in general, rock does really well still. That's still like kind of a really good fan base that is always looking for the next rock band for sure. And then you even see a bunch of crossover. Someone like Machine Gun Kelly is a rapper that just put out a rock album that was hugely successful. So a lot of even other genres are looking to rock as inspiration.
It's crazy how music is so cyclical. Fashion is very cyclical too.
Yeah, cyclical, and like everything's just blending now. That's what it is. Everything's sounding like each other, or everyone's pulling from other genres where it's all kind of sounding not the same. It sounds super unique, but you can just hear how people are listening to other things. It's cool.
Do you think it's because of the growth of the technology in terms of,
for sure,
yeah, like the back end and the production and things like that have assisted artists in blending all of these unique genres together?
That could be it. But even from a consumer standpoint, which artists are as well, you know, they're listening to music and that's how they get inspired as well. But so from a consumer standpoint, so streaming makes it so easy to check out an artist. Before, you had to buy a CD to listen to an artist. Go further back, you had to buy a vinyl to like check it out. Now you can say, hey man, check out my favorite new artist. And you go on Spotify right now and listen to it immediately. And if you don't like it, you move on. You know, you didn't have to like put $20 up to like discover a new artist. So it's just super easy now to, you know, listen, check out, find new music.
It's so true. When the first festival I went to was EDC 2012, and that was like I don't even know if SoundCloud was a thing at that point. It was almost just like you just go and you took recommendations from your friends on people to see. Mm-hmm. But now most people have kind of vetted the entire lineup with different songs to know where you want to go. Right.
But yeah, in festivals too, though, like that's a huge place of music discovery. And there's a bunch of festivals, Coachella, Lollapalooza, Outside Lands, they all book every genre. So even if you're just into electronic music and you're going to walk by a stage with rock music and you might like it, you know? So there's just way more points of music discovery now.
Was it hard for you to transition as a fan and a consumer of music to then becoming the producer? Do you see the music industry differently, or has it tainted your interest?
Yes, is the short answer. Like there'll be some times where someone will tell me to check out a band, and before I can really just sit and enjoy and appreciate, I'm already thinking about booking them. You know what I mean? Like I'll be like second song in on the album, I'll be like, this is good, I should book this. And I'm like, whoa, can we just chill out and listen to the whole album? Like I'm like talking to myself, you know? So there's some of that of like, I'm always looking for an opportunity, I guess, to jump on something, to support something, to get We The Beat behind a cool new artist. So I do catch myself like just not enjoying music as purely as I once did.
That's super funny. I assume if you're listening to a relatively unknown artist that has good music, you're like, oh my God, I could be the first person to get in on this.
Oh, I mean, well, except for us, we're still, you know, a small independent promoter. Mm-hmm. And so it's all about being first for us, right? Like we need to be the first to book an artist in Las Vegas in order to kind of build that relationship, grow with them. Because once someone else books it, it's really difficult to work with that artist because you're on their team. That's kind of how the industry works of sorts.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's similar to how I view this podcast. I kind of view it as investing social capital into somebody, mm-hmm. right? Like you said that this was your first podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yes, I got Kirk on. It's his first show.
Yeah, you know, I've been interviewed before, but never on this like podcast like format. It's cool.
Right. So it's like I invest time with you. You know, you get a platform. I get to talk with you. We become friends, build this relationship. And then at some point, as you continue to grow, you always give like the guests that the person you invested social capital into, mm-hmm. you return, and in return, they give you social equity. And then that comes back in a favor, an investment opportunity, a recommendation for another person. It's similar with you guys. If you find an artist that hasn't been booked yet, you're basically saying like, hey, we believe in you. We're giving you the stage. And that artist will remember that forever. And if they end up blowing up, they always owe you the favor to come back.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, no, that's the idea for sure.
They're like, nah, fam.
It's never the artist. The artists are 99% super cool, and they always remember us. They always take care of us. But then if you get to a certain level, like we worked with Rufus Du Sol very early on in California. Well, they're just so big now, or they're working with like the biggest stadiums, the biggest promoters, Live Nation, AG, where it's like there's just not really a role for us. I mean, we'll help them promote, but we're not really. They're just on the major leagues. They're working. They're on the Yankees now. They're not on the minor league team.
They still remember you though,
for sure.
You know,
and once shout out Rufus. Those guys are so cool. Like, again, the artists are amazing, but like, you know, their team, their manager, their agents got to boss up and
there's a few more hurdles to get to them. I would assume though that once you guys grow larger, there will be an opportunity where you approach them, it's a good fit, and they're like, oh, I remember Kirk and the team. You know, they gave us an opportunity.
No, yeah, shout out all those guys. Whenever they come to Vegas, we hang out. And now they hang out with my friends without me. It's hilarious. Like,
that's awesome.
No, they're super nice dudes. They were just in Santa Barbara last year playing the Santa Barbara Bowl, which is like the big, beautiful venue there. We were kicking it poolside. Like, it was super cool.
How early on did you book them?
What was that year? It was the first year they played Coachella. They played Santa Barbara with us in between the 2 weekends. And that's one of our best stories, man. They were so cool, so fun. The show was amazing. I'm pretty sure it was like their first headline show in California. The show was incredible. The boys came over to my house after, partied all night, all morning. It was like the sun was coming up, and I was like, do you guys have a place to go? And they're like, yeah, we're just going to go to Coachella. And I was like, right now? I was like, the sun was coming up. And they're like, yeah, man. Yeah, you know, like, those Aussie boys are crazy. So, yeah, what was that, 2000, I want to say 15, 16?
Yeah, that's early. It's crazy in the music.
I should know that year, damn.
In the music industry, people can just blow up so fast.
Yeah, those boys did. But then, and they totally deserve it. Those guys are incredible musicians, great sound, great dudes. Yeah, they deserve to be big. And yeah, they just announced, I think it was 2 shows at the new, I think the LA Chargers Stadium. Just like the biggest stadium in California.
That stadium is huge.
It's brand new.
Oh my God.
Doesn't get bigger. So
like a $5 billion stadium or something.
Yeah, and it's such an amazing feeling to see an artist that you worked with, you know, I guess so small, be so big now. Like it's awesome to see their growth and their trajectory. It's awesome.
Speaking of stadiums, did you see that Illenium is doing a show at Allegiant?
Crazy.
What do you think of that?
Crazy big. That's the first concert there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. that's gonna be huge. I'm gonna be there. I need to see that.
Yeah. That's
if he sells that out, that's when you know concerts are like all the way back. And the demand is crazy. I think he will too. He's sold out some big venues before.
So when he was at Omnia before, he had a residency at Omnia before we closed. The tables service would be okay, but the GA would sell out every single time.
Yeah, he's not quite like a club.
Yeah,
artist, I guess. You know, his fans want to be together in the GA, like you said.
Yeah, so I think he'll do very well with the GA. I just think that experience will be insane because for such a long time growing up here, you know, you grew up out here too, right? You moved out here when you were 2?
Yeah, I grew up.
So you're pretty much a Vegas native.
For sure.
We didn't have a stadium like that to go to events. I mean, Daft Punk did a show at Sam Boyd Stadium, like, I don't know, 2003 or 4 or something. Shout out like that.
Vegas was the festival. I was there.
Were you?
Yeah.
You saw Daft Punk?
That changed, like, that straight up changed my life.
Legend.
I was into kind of backpack rap at that point. I knew who Daft Punk was, but seeing them live blew my mind. And that's when that threw me onto the electronic journey. Right, and I've been a hardcore dance fan since. So,
dude, that's some street cred right there in the music industry. Seeing Daft Punk.
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone who saw that tour is like, it's like a family now. You mentioned that, and if someone else in the room, like we're best friends for life now. like you were there too. But yeah, no, we've never had like a stadium. Even T-Mobile, you know, there's awesome concerts there now. Yeah, the level of venues in Las Vegas recently in the last couple of years is awesome to see.
Do you think that will help out the Vegas promotion industry overall? Like, do you think having all of these new venues open up will hurt you guys in any way?
No, in general, more action, the better. You know, more people that fall in love with concerts, the better. You know, if all those Illenium fans take their friends that aren't really into concerts and they have an amazing time, and then the next week they go, I want to go to a concert again, they might come to mine. So I'm all about growing the market or growing the fan base, no matter what it is. We want more people into concerts. So those big festivals, those big Allegiant shows, I think do that, you know. I help on a smaller scale, but those growing the top is, I think, really important for sure.
That is super important. Have you guys booked any venues outside of the downtown and Strip area? Have you gone like actually out and navigate into the city?
Yeah. We've worked with Hard Rock Live, which is a venue on the Strip. We worked with the Hard Rock a bunch. That was just an awesome property with such a rich history of music and with cool venues. So we worked with the Hard Rock a bunch before they got acquired by Virgin. And we're going to work with them. They kept a lot of their entertainment team, a lot of their same venues. So we're going to keep working with the new Virgin Hotel. It'll be cool. It's beautiful over there.
That will be cool. I haven't been there yet. I've heard mixed reviews, but
they need some help bringing people in. They need more We the Beach shows.
Yeah, right. I'm excited. But have you booked any venues outside of the Strip, like actually out into the city?
No, those were kind of our major. Bunkhouse. We work with Corner Bar Management. Those guys take care of us, or they work with us all the time with Commonwealth, and now they have a bunch of cool venues on Fremont. Disco Pussy. Yeah, I was just there for the first time. That's a super cool venue we're going to start working with. So
yeah, shout out my boy Michael Hatcher. He's second in charge over there now. He's one of my old managers. They've been crushing it out there. They also own that bar inside Area 15.
The center.
In the Miss and the center, yeah. So they've been doing super well. Commonwealth is blown up. It's insane.
Oh yeah, that's packed all the time.
It's nuts. It reminds me of it's like the downtown club almost, but it still has the downtown vibes.
And now Disco Pussy across the street, that's super fun. But yeah, that's about it though. We mostly stay downtown. Like we're going to be at Ferguson's a bunch this year.
That's smart. Yeah, I asked just because I haven't seen any real events in any venues outside of downtown and Arts District and the Strip. I think it's just the city's been missing it.
Yeah.
For some point, maybe the culture isn't exactly there yet to where that like booking a venue just out in the city like can command that kind of audience or those fans.
Yeah, we're still we were talking about it before we started recording. We're still kind of growing kind of a local scene, right? That can kind of go to any venue you want inside or outside the city.
How do you think we grow the culture out here in Vegas? We are in this like Renaissance period.
Right.
So it actually only takes a handful of people to really churn it a certain way, as long as we all connect together. That was like one of the reasons why I started the podcast. It's like, it seems like everyone's very siloed, but if we get all of the young entrepreneurs out here to work together, then we can really build something like substantial.
Totally. And that's why I do like working with, all the people doing amazing things downtown. There's a lot of different companies or people trying to do that, build a unique community down there. And yeah, to your point, it's all about working together. I show love to all the other promoters doing their thing. I want to work with them. Yeah, we just need to keep doing cool stuff and different stuff, providing different experiences and exactly like supporting one another, telling people to go to other shows, right? Like just because it's not my show, I'm still the first one there to be like, this is cool as hell. And I'm telling all my friends, like, this is cool. It's all about supporting, good stuff.
It is. Yeah. We've moved into the age of collaboration and it's very pronounced on the internet where you get two influencers who do a YouTube video together, two people who command different audiences together. It just amplifies it. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's like 1 + 1 = 4.
Yeah. Why not work together? Yeah, exactly. It grows both of your followings, and then it grows the bigger scene for sure.
Yeah, it's not. It's a funny joke. When I was in college, I used to always hang out with other fraternities all the time, and I'd always be like, tell my fraternity brothers, I'm like, do you need to hang out with the guys from the other fraternities? Because if they support you, then the girls who hang out with them will probably hang out with you as well.
And grow your network.
Grow your network. Sure. It's like you can't stay tribal within this one clique that you grew up with. You consistently have to expand. It's the only way to survive.
Yeah, I feel that in Vegas though.
It does become tribal at times, especially in the industry on the Strip. Everyone's like trying to compete for a finite amount of sources. When you're competing for money, it seems like people become a little bit more competitive.
What's the podcast game like?
Right?
Is it crazy out here in the podcast?
Honestly, when I first started, there were some podcasters who were kind of like territorial about it.
Probably.
Now it's, I think, a little bit more open.
Okay.
I always do podcast swaps. Like I'm always trying to communicate with people like, hey, come on my show. I'll go on your show. Because the thing with podcasting, it's like about 50% of the US listens to podcasts.
Okay. But that's a pretty big number.
Yeah. I think in Vegas, it's much lower.
Sure.
I would say Vegas, my speculation would be maybe 30%.
Okay.
But the people who do listen to podcasts tend to listen to 6 to 10 shows. So if you can flip that person from 0, it's not 0 to 1, it's like 0 to 6.
Gotcha.
So if like somebody, one of your fans is listening to this, they'll probably listen to mine, and then they'll look through and see other podcasters on my show, get them as well. And so there's all kinds of different.
At the end of the day, there's room to eat for everybody.
For everyone, yeah. I'm excited for it.
I live by that for sure.
I'm excited for it. I have one final question for you before we get out of here.
Really? Was that an hour? What are we at?
It's 59 minutes.
That was smooth. Yeah, cool.
Smooth, easy transition.
Yeah, man. What's up?
Same question I ask everyone. What does Las Vegas mean to you?
For me, it means home. I was raised here. I grew up here, and I want to help build this home, this house. It also means entertainment capital of the world, even if it's just one of them. That's how I think I still see it. I think that's how the world still sees it. So between those two things, that's why I'm back. You know, I was in Santa Barbara forever, came back to Vegas to kind of pursue, to kind of grow my business more, and to reconnect with the people I grew up with. So yeah, home, and entertainment capital of the world, those two.
Boom.
Boom.
Where do I send the viewers and listeners to follow you on social media, get involved with We The Beat, any mentions, anything like that?
Yeah, We The Beat on Instagram, WETHEBEAT. We got that handle finally. Nice. And then go to wethebeat.com. Check out all the stuff we're writing about. We got a weekly newsletter. Sign up for that. Super easy. We're just going to email you once a week with a bunch of cool stuff. You'll be tuned into music way more. And then come to the show. If you got those two things, we'll keep you updated on all the shows we got coming.
Yeah, I'll definitely be at the first show. Was it next month?
Yeah.
I'll be out there. I'll be excited to party, come celebrate with you guys and see everyone else. Everyone, the information is tagged below. Make sure, give Kirk a follow, come out and be a part of building this culture out here in Vegas. We're all proud to do it. And I'm excited to not only help build culture, but build our relationship over the long term. Now that we're familiar with each other, we can all collab and refer all different people to each other. So thank you for coming on, Kirk.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you next time.